Hey guys, welcome back to World End Economica, and time to go to a terrace, I think. Oh, nice terrace. Parties like these are actually very carefully planned advertising. By looking at the number of people invited from each fund, you can estimate what the promoters thought of their finances. There are indicators of what worked in the current market, who made money, or who failed. So I bought opera glasses and sat where I could get a good look at their faces. But there's something that bothered me more than all of this. Suspicious alchemy, wonderful alchemy. Since the beginning of the universe, return had been the reward you got for the risks you took. When you tried to get profit so massive you could call them a holy grail, how much of a risk did you have to take? Well, I didn't know. I couldn't even imagine. Of course, sometimes there are exceptions like this. For example, a lottery where you'd still make a profit even if you bought every ticket. But that actually happened on Earth once, and the lottery organisers realised their mistake, ending the whole affair being taken to court. Even though the syndicate responsible for recording a small amount of profit with a refund said they'd lost more over personal expenditures. But in the case, it was foolish to think of a holy grail existing in this world of finance. It was far more complicated than the lottery. So to put it bluntly, I was in a bad mood. The more I thought about it, the more it felt like I was getting clear signals and I was behind the times. I went to a terrace and ordered a drink. Even though I usually avoided alcohol, I sipped on my cold gin. Is it not to your taste? At first I thought that was meant to someone else at another table, but I felt someone behind me. I knew she'd come and see me eventually. She was looking really, really stylish and with get up. When I turned around, I saw her face I thought I was familiar with, but was somehow different from before. Now it's good. As I drank my gin from its delicate glass, Chris chuckled and gently sat across on me. No, it's not that. She really is looking mature these years. You mean the ABS? The asset-backed securities, the thing Wallace referred to as alchemy. Dr. Wallace was here, right? Chris was eating the nuts that came with the alcohol one by one, chewing them like a squirrel. My math is flawless. She still looked like a small animal, but was swinging and unshakable in her tone. People could change in 4 years. It all turned to a source of joy or sadness, but Chris had a very strong heart in her. I'm not doubting that. So what is it? Well, I'm a stock investment specialist and I'm not familiar with structured bonds. Purchasing claims such as government bonds can yield annual interests for whole amount repaid upon maturity. In contrast, structured bonds had a fluctuated interest which follows certain conditions. Trade details can be revised many times as desired. Because of this, there are some structured bonds that keep generating losses due to their extremely complicated nature. Quite a number of Japanese enterprises during the bubble economy generated losses with American deals. And what I do is even more a very old-fashioned investment method. Good value stock, where you only buy cheap stock with future growth potential. Okay. I lean back on my chair, clasping my hands over my stomach. I can see the lights of Newton City over a distance. Are you not going to praise me? My only reply to Chris's words was to look at her. Chris stared at her hands as she snapped open her pistachio cells. This year my bonuses will reach astronomical figures. I saw the sales numbers and were reported. It seems I haven't reached the ceiling yet. It's only because I use rating agencies and counting regulations. It's selling really well, but only with people on the lunar surface, who like taking risks, but also somewhat more conservative people on Earth. Saying so much I can't process the paperwork fast enough, so the actual numbers sell several times greater than those published. Pistachio broke open with a crack. Maybe it was a hint of suggesting that she had solved a deep riddle of the investment world. Such profits are unprecedented. This year my branch will be the most profitable in the world, for sure. She raised her eyes, but full of innocence, showing you not even a glimpse of greed. She probably didn't even have the slightest interest in money. Which was exactly why she averted her gaze and spoke as if she was looking in from afar. I want to see how far I can go. You will go very far, that's for sure. I took some nuts to myself. But before you get there, Rita said she should come back to a church sometimes. That's what Chris used to say to me. But someone living in a world where people talked about figures of hundreds of millions or even billions of moles, those words must have been awfully down to earth. Maybe Chris realised that too. She was ducking her head as if my word tickled. I'm busy. I understand, it's so funny you can't tear yourself away, right? Do you think I'm a bad girl? Chris had grown a little. She looked a little mature, but managed to retain her innocence. Chris basically is a mirror of Hal. They both go through very similar attitudes and growth patterns. I mean, she's so much more innocent than Hal, of course, and so much brighter. She's like a glowing star. You can't help but want to be led by her. She must be quite popular. She would go even higher now. I do think you are a bad girl. Reincarnation of greed. If that's the case, we will have to visit Risa at some point, but for now I'll pass. Chris threw a salted almond in her mouth and wiped her hands. I saw a news piece in our Heart Project, Hal. Thank you. If you ever need funds, please come to our bank. I'll introduce your investment division, alright? I wasn't sure whether to laugh or not. I didn't. Turned my gaze back to the scenery while looking at Chris from the corner of my eye. Giving leverage easily will be a downfall. You know what I say, know your place. You can just about see Chris's hair there. Coming from Hal, the hero who defeated Avalon, it sounds pretty convincing, huh? That did make me laugh. Went back to my initial position and said, to be honest, when I heard your monthly sales amounting to 1.7 billion, I was jealous. It was mortifying. Oh? I haven't changed much from a boy I was 8 years ago. Don't be too hard on me. She was only half listening to me, staring at me with her wide eyes. Her expression slowly changed to a smile. You're pretty sly after all, Hal. Many people have told me that. But thanks to you, I'll be able to work harder again. Yeah. I have to get back. Our goal for today is sales set at 500 million. I couldn't tell if she was serious or not, but before I could reply, she stood up and started to walk off. Without thinking, I called out to her. Chris! She stopped, but not to look back. After a brief silence, I spoke. I'd like to buy some ABS if that's alright. And Chris's body stiffened with attention, let her shoulders relax and turned back to me. You're mean, Hal. That look is absolutely adorable. Perhaps I should have said I wanted to get back together. Bleh. She laughed, sticking out her tongue and putting down her lower eyelid mockingly. With my authority as a developer, I'll get you as much as you want. Do you want a truck full of them? No, the smallest lot. At those words, Chris' expression locked itself into a forced, humorless smile. I was impressed to see if she'd make such an expression. Major banks like E.J. Rockberg were a pack of wolves, and Chris was having considerable success there. Understood. I'll tell a sales representative. Thank you. No problem. We look forward to doing business with you. She said this with a look of studied composure. Only at the end did she smile as usual, before she went back inside the club, buying the smallest possible lot of bond. Unless you're a stingy private investor, which is a certain proof of doubt. When you bought bonds, you gained the right to see the written plans to ask questions as a client. Now, I will dissect your product and look for defects. I might as well have said that out loud. I just sipped my gin, breathing a sigh. When I called out to Chris from behind, it was absolutely not a manifestation of my resolution to fight with ABS from now on. My spiteful act was about 40% motivated by childish jealousy of success. Remaining 60%, I suppose it was my anxiety at potentially being left behind. The inside of the church was dark. However, it wasn't because it was night, because the windows had been covered with curtains to block out the light. There was a small box on the floor which extended a cord to a computer terminal, which is the only source of light in the room. Sarai was sitting in front of a computer terminal. Alright, let's do this! As I said that, Sarai pressed a key on the terminal, causing it to emit a buzzing, whirring sound. Ooh. Who's here? We've got from left to right, we've got the President, we've got Raina, we've got Risa, we've got Sarai, sporting a very nice moustache these days. We got Jiminy Boy, and we got myself. We got how. Green light briefly radiated from a box on the floor. Then countless rays of light appeared with a conical-shaped light. Soon was looking at a detailed projection of a city. Oh! A gruff voice belonged to Gazanica. As for the others who were gasping and shuffling around, everyone had their eyes on a spectacle. You construct a city with its detailed modular construction kit with great decomposition capacity. Since this hermetic seal is effectively in outer space and it contains its neutral warmth as well, its energy consumption should be around 10% during use. The algorithms to distribute water, air, heat efficiency are nearly complete. A supercomputer was necessary to run them, but the benefits greatly exceed the energy cost. Follow this system, it will be possible to expand the perfect efficient cities indefinitely, instead of unregulated and disorderly cities currently developed on the lunar surface. How many people could we house with it? As he asked a question, Thoreau stroked the terminal and a number appeared across the map of the city. Approximately 300,000 people. Efficiency-wise and maintenance costs would be higher compared to the urban and planning for the lunar surface of a fourth city. Our use of ground space would see its efficiency tripled. This should solve a housing problem. I was staring intently at the projected image. I'm involving myself in a housing and aid project because I recall it could be easily repurposed for Mars, with no major changes. If the housing problem is solved, we give people some leeway, and they should have some leeway, which should allow them to focus their future on the lunar surface, I guess. Zanika was muttering this as if confirming his own objectives. And how much will the plan cost? Thoreau shrugged at Gazanika's question. This is pure speculation, but I would say it should be about 100 billion moles. Out of that, it's the issue of economies of scale. The larger the scale, the lower the cost. But to increase the scale, the incentive to live out in the city is necessary. Saying the only purpose of expansion is low-income housing is no good. If his images get stuck on a project, high earners will leave. We don't just brainwash people into thinking otherwise. Well, doing that would make us no better on Earth. So I couched the statement in a joke, probably as a wake-up call to avoid people getting too engrossed in the project. He waved his long fingers and the lights turned on. When as if waking up from a dream, we looked at a now pale green hologram of the city. But while a new plan of city construction would be both technically and financially feasible, it wouldn't be allowed, would it? One who said that was Raina. Thoreau, womanised though he was, giving a somewhat smug response. The reason it isn't being implemented is because those who have the money necessary to make it happen have no reason to do so. In fact, those who are invested in interest in this probably doesn't even want anything to do with it. Emerald Industries isn't embarking on such a broad urban design project because it fears antitrust law. Rather because unless several subsidiaries handle the city's design, an exploitation will generate more profits, so it seems. In some cases, an efficiency can turn up profit for legislators. No matter how much a president tries to get a legislation for urban planning passed, the parliament will probably repeal it, right? Most of the guys at a parliament are employed in companies after all. As Thoreau brought up that matter to Gazanica, he grumbled and folded his arms, nodding. So we really have to take care of this ourselves? Obviously. He had no leniency even towards a married woman. He grinned widely and pressed a button on the computer terminal to close the hologram. Meanwhile, without even looking at him, Raina sat down with a tired expression, much like the one she had back of a public office. Gazanica was sitting on a sofa and Risa was sitting in front of a table near the sink counter of Raina. I was leaning against a wall with Marco. All core members of this overambitious project were in attendance, if you counted Thoreau. Of course, if you counted those who agreed with us and those who handled the office work with Raina and Risa, the number of our collaborators easily exceeded 100. However, people assembled here were ones who joined forces to build this product from the ground up. Well, in the era we're living in, you have a great amount of resources for calculations, so we'll be able to recreate the program and start designing a lunar surface's Fudce city in no time. We really do not look like we should do. I mean, the president on the left looks more like a very angry chef. The programmer looks more like no, he's just not a chef, he looks like a bartender. The next guy looks like some kind of outwork artist. Then we've got a college student and a teacher. I love how Raina looks the most timid out of a lot of them. But to be fair, she probably is actually. In practice, we should also be able to simulate human activities. Run a simulation to see how different kind of people who inhabit the city, he may give us hints about what measures to take from then on. This sounds like science fiction. Raina replied to Teresa's words. Earth sees this place as something goes straight out of sci-fi, you know. True enough. I was once asked to point out the lunar city on a world map. Building number 1 for his project is the new technology. But if folks living at New York could be taken to Mars and still function properly, even they would be surprised. So his light-hearted remark elicited ripples of laughter. Not long ago, this plan seemed far away as discussing a vacation 2 years away at a home party. But our project, which was to strike the greed-intoxicated lunar surface, was taking shape. Despite our absolute confidence, we would feel like there was no turning back now. The same tension and excitement you got right before you made a huge investment in the stock market. I never thought I'd get a second chance of feeling what it's like to achieve a dream. He said with a sigh. In the past he used to say that he couldn't believe he'd actually managed to be elected president. After Gazanica, Raina spoke. At least for now, things have been going surprisingly smoothly. Even after the ceremony, we've received lots of messages of support, including some from people on Earth. Next year is the lunar surface's 25th anniversary. The problems are clear, with lots of people going back to Earth and living on the moon. Most of them wish to either it was a more upright place or someone was scolded it into shape. That's because you can only see those problems looking up from the bottom. So said Riss and sipped his coffee. In reality, it's not just lip service. People probably wanted an excuse to badmouth the moon too. Economically, the moon had completely overtaken them. Everyone's scrambling to move their headquarters up here, and technological innovations are also mostly coming up from the lunar surface. No wonder people on Earth feel like they're in a bind. And where they stood, the moon is light is golden. However, a plan to shape the lunar surface back to sanity is still pretty much a pipe dream. The housing project to gather low-income earnings scattered across the lunar surface as the isolated immigrants barely taken shape. This might be in part due to my lack of ability, but in any case, our project has finally taken form. I look forward to seeing it come to fruition. Xanika's speech wasn't bad. I was tempted to seize him and ask him how long he'd been rehearsing it. If no applause followed, everyone was smiling. Gazanica and nothing but enemies in Parliament were smiling in a way you never catch him doing in public. That being said, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave soon. Couldn't really come here in the first place to our meeting and got cancelled. Not at all. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Getting thanks from Reese is very scary. I feel like I'm going to have to repay it twofold. That's not your imagination. As Rose said this, Gazanica burst into laughter. Anyway, next time we'll be at a regular assembly. He made to leave after saying this, but he looked at me suddenly. Ah, Hal, do you have a minute? Sure. At Raina's request, Siro was showing a somewhat smaller version of a hologram with his only demonstration. We had also started doing something else. I took Marco with me. We exited the church along with Gazanica. How was that thing I asked you about going? I was going on the next episode, I think. I think we can probably guess what I was about to talk about. Find out officially next episode. Bye bye.